Good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to go ahead and get started with this week's little topic. This week on Let's Talk About It, we're going to talk about healthy relationships. So I'm going to go ahead and say my daughter is awake this time. So if you hear in the background, her little favorite movie is on, Frozen. It drives me absolutely insane. We've watched it at least 1,000 freaking times. But what are you going to do? She might appear, she might not. She likes to come in my space. Right now, she's taking toys from one side of the room to the other just for the heck of it. So, today is the 8th-year anniversary death of my grandmother. And for those who really knew me, like, in high school and, like, growing up, she was, like, almost like a second mother figure to me, for real. I was able to go to her about anything and everything, and something that she always tried to teach me was healthy relationships, because at the time I was dealing with someone who, I'm not going to say I shouldn't have dealt with him. He was definitely a lesson learned. But you know how we all are when you're in that first relationship and you think it's, heaven on earth. And, I'm a Disney child, so I believe in true love and all of that. And it's especially different when you have a disability, a physical disability. Let me say that because, like I said off my past videos and things like that, people really never gave me the time of day. So, to have like the first person be like, oh, I don't care about your leg, I don't care about that. You're just like, me? Somebody finally chose me. And, I just dealt with a lot in being with that person, because I felt like, I might not never have this again. And that's part of the problem, when you feel like you'll never accomplish something again, or you'll never have something again, or it's just too good to be true. So, for me, a lot of people, which I think is so freaking interesting, when you guys leave the feedback and you comment and tell me all these positive things, I'm so thankful. Trust me, I am. But it just shows me, I think my daughter's coming, how perception is. I see your shadow. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Hi. Want to say hi? It just shows me how perception is, because, go watch the movie, baby. Just because I carry things well doesn't mean my load is not heavy. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean anything. And I've heard people say, oh, I always thought you were so confident, and I always thought you were so this and you were so that. I'm just like, me? Me? Baby, no. Like, in high school, I used to, because that's where a lot of people know me from. They're like, oh, well, when we went to Stevenson, you always had your head up and you were doing this and you were doing that. And you always had like the RBF, resting B face and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, I didn't have no choice. I can't be punked for the rest of my life. I can't let people walk over me for the rest of my life. She just flipped over this couch. Thank you for hopping back over. And, just because I carried the weight of all of that very well does not mean it was not hard for me or a struggle for me or anything. So something my grandmother used to always tell me to do is to like change my feelings and change my perspective and try to look at the positives of it all. No, ma'am. The positives of it all, and just really try to like move forward with that. So, I haven't been really successful up until this year. So something that I'm trying to do is I change what's on my social media. I changed who I follow, what it is I'm looking at, what it is I'm engaging in. I look at positive body imagery, like that's last week's episode. I look at, plus size models or women speakers, or just positive affirmations, daily posts about things like that, because a lot of how we feel about ourselves is based off of what we see, what we hear, and what we engage in. And something to help with toxic relationships is you taking the first step in being that change. And a part of that, come here, mama. Come here. Part of that is just doing what needs to be done. Come. And I do that a lot with Corey. You know what I'm saying? I tell Corey every day, hugs? Okay, come on. I tell her every day, you know, you're pretty, mommy loves you. You got food, baby. Mommy loves you. Oh, you're such a big girl. You're doing so much. You know, you're just gonna be a great person. You know, I tell her nothing but beautiful things because I believe it starts at home. I believe it starts when they're young. I believe it all of that plays a role. Like, you have to, from the beginning, let them know who they are so that when they step out into this world, they have a sense of confidence about themselves to know, like, hey, my parents set the standards to here. You coming right here, you're going to have to come a little bit harder than that. You know what I'm saying? And I want people to think about that with the healthy relationships that they have going on. Or if you haven't started to build healthy relationships around you, something I want you to think of is to start shifting your own energy. I want you to make a choice, to take a chance in order to change what's going on around you. I want you to start breaking the chains of dysfunction. Because let me tell you something. In my household, I don't play a lot of things. We don't have a sugar baby. We don't have her eating certain things. We don't do a lot of the things that we grown up with. And I think that's important when parents and people try to break generational whatever. Something that me and her father decide for Corey is we want to have a relationship where we are having honest conversations. We want Corey to know who she is, what demons she may or may not battle, what does she feel like she's lacking, so that we can put her in environments that are going to push her forward. Even for myself, this is something that I'm working on. I'm a big believer in practicing what I preach. So learning where I lack, figuring out how to change it and fix it and shift it, and realizing what my strengths and weaknesses are. And that's something we really want to do with Corey. Another thing we want to teach her is to understand how people treat you is how people feel about you. And that goes from every single event in your life: school plays, ballet recitals, sports games. You got a craft and nobody supports you. Even with this, for me, I'm just trying to talk on a platform. I just feel like what I have to say is semi-important. See, that's downgrading myself. I feel like what I have to say is important to somebody somewhere. And every share, every comment, every like, every extension that y'all give to me to where somebody else can see what I'm saying is showing that you care enough for me as your friend to support me. And I want Corey to understand, like, when you're in life and people do that, that's who you need to keep around you. That's who you need to... That's who you need to keep around you. And I want her to understand that there are going to be times in life where you feel like everything around you is crumbling, is dying, is breaking, everything's falling apart. But baby, that's the best part, because when you are at rock bottom, you have nowhere to go but up. You have nothing to do but pick yourself up, start rebuilding. Start becoming a better person for who you are, what you want to do. You know all your flaws at this point. You got to rock bottom some type of way. Now you have no choice. You have to take accountability. You have to understand what you did wrong. You know, that's that honest conversation. That's where you go. And once you get there, don't let yourself be a prisoner of your circumstances. Don't sit there. It is okay to feel your emotions. You could be sad, you could be mad, you could be angry, you could be whatever. Feel it, deal with it, don't dwell in it, because you are not a prisoner of that. Your past mistakes, there are no mistakes. There are only lessons and blessings in life, period. And understand that your downhill moments are your lessons. They're not a life sentence. They don't define you. They don't stick with you, because the only thing constant in life is change. Period. Nothing stays the same. Nothing. Even your personalities don't stay the same. Reasons why I can say that is because a lot of times we go through trauma. And when we go through trauma, we try to go back to who we were before it. You cannot go back to who you were before. That person no longer exists. You've grown, you've learned, your perception has been changed. You move forward. Nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. Nothing is the same. You will never be that person, but what you can be is a better person of who you are. That's what you can be. That's what you can be. And then later you're going to realize that some of your ugliest stories, some of the most horrific things you've been through are going to be a part of your biggest testimony later on. Because it's all going to shift you. It's all going to change. And then you're going to start realizing the people, not everybody, but the people that you thought were dearest to you, or the people that you thought were the most important things, baby, if they are not in your life and that brings you peace, leave them where they at. You did not lose them. They were there for their season. They served their purpose. You've learned your lesson. It's time to pick yourself up, and it's time to move forward. And in your moving forward, you need to understand what your emotional triggers are, because emotions, people want to talk about your reaction, but people don't want to talk about what it took you to react, because for every reaction there is another. If you come at me a certain type of way, I'm going to come at you back. That's just how I operate. You're not going to talk to me any type of way. You're not going to disrespect me any type of way. I'm not going to sit here and get rah-rah, but you're not going to be disrespectful. It's the same way. I tell my daughter all the time, I don't play with kids. You can talk to me without raising your voice to me, because I'm not a real physical disciplinarian for my child. I don't want you to fear me, but you're going to understand. You speak to mommy in a decent tone. Mommy speaks to you in a decent tone. Period. Period. And that's what we do. And I take that with adults as well. So I just feel as if when you understand what your triggers are, you're not going to surround yourself around things that are going to cause them to explode or cause them to just go off or whatever. No, you're going to remove yourself. And until people can be in a point in your life where this is what my standards are, this is how I respect myself, this is what I see for myself, either you're going to respect it or you're going to get lost with it. You don't need to be around them. They don't need to be around you. It's called healthy boundaries. Something that people have a hard time with is boundaries because of what people's titles are in your life. Listen, my health was horrific last year. Horrific. I was in and out the hospital all fucking 2018. And when I tell you, I don't know why my phone is buzzing. It was super hard for me to get back right. But something I learned to do, no matter what the title was, no matter who the person was create healthy boundaries for myself. And I had conversations with everybody, and I was like, if you don't treat me how I need to be treated, you don't need to be around me. And that's just what I want you guys to do. Create healthy boundaries for you. Create healthy relationships for you, and move forward with that. So that's my let's talk about it. Say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.